Welcome to our next discussion about decoding risks and unlocking opportunities in a global perspective. Given the rapidly changing economic climate, it's interesting how global trends and policies impact investment and their implications for risk and opportunity. With us for this discussion, we have Colin Ellis and Marie Elvesol at Moody's. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Have you had a good day so far?
We have.
Yeah.
We have.
Nice having you back here at Aura Business Forum.
It's always great to be back at Aura.
Yeah, it is. Colin, from a macro perspective, what would you say impact the financial market the most currently?
Well, at the moment, there's obviously a lot going on in the world, but financial markets do seem very fixated on interest rates, and particularly what the Federal Reserve and to a lesser degree the ECB are going to do. We've just been through this massive shock, inflation jumping right the way around the world. Central banks raised rates to try and contain that and bring inflation back down. And really you're seeing a lot of volatility in financial markets from day to day, and a lot of that is linked to markets guessing about what's going to happen next with interest rates. We think that we will start to see policy rates decline. We think we'll see some cuts in interest rates later this year. But we think it's going to be quite a gradual process. So hopefully, when those cuts start, a little bit of that uncertainty will go away and a little bit of the volatility in markets will hopefully decline.
Yeah. Okay, so narrowing the focus to the Nordics, are there any specific issues or trends that are relevant right now?
So I think I'd pick out two, which get talked about a lot, and then I'd emphasize one more than the other. So obviously, with everything that's going on in real estate, both in terms of commercial real estate, but also residential property, the links that have in terms of household debt, we know that there are many households here in Sweden and elsewhere in the Nordics. There's a lot of debt there.
Yep.
And so people are concerned about how ordinary people are going to cope with higher interest rates, given their mortgages are going to become more expensive. That's something we talk to investors about a lot, and it is something we're monitoring. But I would say we're relatively optimistic about the region's ability to cope with that. The second thing I would say, and it's the one where it's a little bit more out of policymakers' control, or there's only so much they can do, is geopolitical risk. We've taken a number of rating actions over the past couple of years. We've shifted our view on what geopolitical equilibrium looks like in Europe, and of course with Finland and Sweden joining NATO, the prospect of maybe another shift in US leadership and the implications that could have for NATO later this year. Geopolitics is really probably the risk that we're most focused on for this region, and there's a limit to what you can do there.
Maria, you're talking to global investors in your role. What would you say are on top of their minds right now?
Yeah, so some of the things you touched on, if I should add anything else, apart from interest rates and geopolitical, and those are very present on top of their minds. Maybe we can add the rapid change in the environment, in the financial industry, not just in the industry, but investors are very much focused on how different sectors approach, like AI, for example. Financial markets are focused on digital finance. It's a lot digitalization and it's rapid change, and investors are really looking at how to best evaluate that and investments for the future. We've had ESG and those investments, and we've talked about transition finance that needs to be happening more, but adding the techie bits to it and are on top of investors' minds, and cyber risks in connection to that. So that is just as an addition, really, to what you spoke about.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah. What's the view from global investors when it comes to the Nordics and Sweden?
Well, I think we talked about that earlier. We are a triple-rated economy and high governance. I think you said that on stage earlier. Yeah. So we usually do what we say we do. So it's a trust for Sweden as such. But apparently we've had some challenges recently with the household indebtedness and real estate market. But generally it's of interest to them globally as well. But commercial real estate has been a topic recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you get to look into the future, Colin,
You wanna?
a year from now, what do you think we're going to talk about then compared to now?
Well, I'm really hoping economics will be more boring again. You know, if we're right and we're through a lot of the shocks and interest rates start to come down, hopefully we'll be talking less about interest rates and growth and inflation and things like that. I think we absolutely will still be talking about geopolitics, but I hope it will be more about how we move on from some of the conflicts that we're currently seeing. That's probably a slightly optimistic view, given what you're seeing play out in Gaza, but also in Ukraine. And that, if that happens, and hopefully we can get back to addressing these longer-term issues, which, you know, climate change is not going away while we're busy worrying about the geopolitical landscape. We'll have to see.
Well, thank you, Marie and Colin, for being here today, and I hope that you will enjoy Audio Business Forum further on.
Thank you for
Thank you
having
very
us.
much.
Thank you.